Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel all about real estate. My name is Lewis, and in today's video, we're going to do a Sacramento market review. We're going to look at tons of stats and facts because the data just came out for December. So we're going to take a look at the Sacramento region, which includes Sacramento, Placer, and El Dorado County. We're going to look at it as a whole, and in addition to that, we're going to break down the details per county as well. So if you're interested in finding out specific information about one of these counties, check out the timestamps below. And before we begin, if I could ask one small favor, please go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so to see more weekly videos on finance, real estate, and investing. Let's begin. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it here. Up on the screen, I have the chart from Trend Graphics, and it illustrates the number of homes for sale, sold, and pended or under contract. This is for the entire Sacramento region, which includes Sacramento, Placer, and El Dorado County. So let's take a look at what we have here. The December data just came out and was made available to us. We have the light green bar here shows us the number of homes for sale, which was 1,047 units. The dark green bar shows the number of homes sold, which was just under 2,000 units at 1,969. And then the red line is an indication of the number of homes that were put under contract to purchase, meaning a buyer has agreed to purchase that home, which was 1,561 units. So now a couple things stand out to me here on this chart. One, the inventory is down, the sales activity is lower than it was a year ago, but seasonally speaking, the slowdown in December is normal. But if you go back to December of 2020, we had a little bit more inventory on the market, we had more sales activity, and we had slightly more homes under contract. So as of December of 2021, the number of homes for sale is down 4.9%. Number of homes sold, so actual sales activity, is down about 16.4%. And then the number of homes that are under contract to be purchased are down about 3.6%. In general, I think this is a normal slowdown for December, but the sales volume and sales activity is less than it was a year ago. And I think a lot of this could be attributed to the interest rates rising slightly, and then of course the holidays and some of the issues we're facing with the pandemic currently. Next up on the screen, I have the average price per square foot. Now this was updated yesterday. I'm actually, the numbers here look a little bit alarming to me. Even though I'm pulling this data directly today, this does not seem accurate. I think there's a discrepancy for October, November, and December, because you can see that the average price per square foot in September of 2021, they're showing it at $320 a foot, which I think was about normal for the region. But then in October, they show the average price per square foot falling off a cliff to $262 a foot. So I think they're having some issue with their data and information. I'm not going to spend too much time on it here, but I will in the comments below update this when I have the correct information or an answer as to why this data looks skewed. Just as an estimate, what I am seeing out there currently is that the average price per square foot is over $300. We're likely somewhere closer to that $320 per square foot mark that it shows here in September. But more information to come. I'll try to update the notes and the description below once I have that information readily available. Moving on to the next chart here, this is the average days on market, and this is really interesting to me here as well. So as of last month, December 2021, average days on market for each listing is 23 days. So still, properties are selling in just a few weeks' time, which is incredibly fast-paced, competitive market, or at least it's an indication of that. Now, if you go back 5, 6, 7 months, homes were selling in less than 2 weeks, which was, of course, at the peak selling season. As you're coming in late spring and early summer, homes were moving very, very quickly. And this green line here is an indication that homes were selling above list price. So this is the sales price versus the original list price. If you go back to the height of last year in May, June, and July, homes were on average selling for 104 to 103% of the original list price. As of last month, homes are selling on average for 100% of the list price, meaning if you list a property for $600,000, most likely it will sell for $600,000. If we're doing a year-over-year look, the average days on market from a year ago has increased by about 15%, meaning homes are sitting a little bit longer on the market. They're taking a little bit longer to sell. Now, this chart here shows the average price of homes listed for sale, as well as the average price of homes that were actually sold. So as of last month, December 2021, the average sales price in the region was $623,000, whereas the average listing price was $853,000. That's something that's really interesting to me because that is over a $200,000 gap here. So I'm really curious if that's an indication that some of these homes were listed too high and then they did price reductions, or if the average is slightly skewed because of homes that were dramatically more expensive than the average sales price. In other words, maybe the majority of transactions are happening in and around the $623,000 range, but there are a number of properties in that higher end that might be listed, north of $1 million, and it's skewing the average list price. If anybody knows the answer to that, leave it in the comments below. I'd be really curious to find out. But anyway, the average list price is down about 1.3% from a year ago. However, the average sold price is up about 13.7% in the region. So prices are going up. And then the last chart that I want to point out, which I think is really interesting, is the month's worth of inventory. So as of December 2021, we have 0.5 months worth of inventory on the market currently for sale. Now, the way this works and what this ultimately means is that if no other homes were to hit the market as of right now, it would only take a half a month to sell everything that is currently on the market. And to put things in perspective, anything less than 3 months worth of inventory is considered a seller's market. 3 to 6 months worth of inventory is considered a neutral market, and above 6 months is considered a buyer's market. So you can tell we are definitely in a seller's market. There's not a lot of homes for sale, which means that it is very competitive right now. Now, if you're looking at this chart as a whole, if you go back a year, we still had about a half a month's worth of inventory, which is exceptionally low. And you can see that even at the peak amount of inventory in 2021, we still had less than a month's worth of inventory. So my guess is that we're going to see some more supply come online as we go into the spring and summer. But if the market stays as competitive and as tight as it has last year, then we're likely to see maybe about a month's worth of inventory at its peak moving into 2022. Okay, now we've covered all of the stats and facts in the Sacramento region, which, as I mentioned, covered Sacramento, Placer, and El Dorado County. But I do want to run through the data for each county individually. And so up on the screen, I have the information from El Dorado County. We're going to run through this information quickly so that you know all of the stats and facts for the individual county. So up on the screen, I have the chart of for sale, sold, and pended homes. So El Dorado County saw about 177 homes listed for sale. They saw 217 homes sold in December of 2021, and they saw about 174 homes under contract. So the number of homes for sale is actually down right at about 15% from 1 year ago. Number of homes sold is actually down 25.7%. So a dramatic reduction in the sales activity in El Dorado County. And then the number of homes put under contract is down slightly at 2.8%. So the homes are still certainly selling out here, but the sales activity is much slower than it was a year ago. So really interesting. Now I'm going to skip the average price per square foot because, as I mentioned, I think the data is inaccurate at this point. We're going to move on to the average days on market. So as of last month, El Dorado County saw average days on market of 38. So homes in general in El Dorado County are sitting on the market dramatically longer than the average for the Sacramento region. But if you go back a year ago, homes were only sitting on the market for about 33 days. So the time on market has increased year over year by about 15.2%. So it's taking longer to sell property in El Dorado County. In addition to that, take a look at the green line here that shows the sales price compared to the original list price. As of December of 2021, homes are selling on average for about 97% of the original list price, which means that people are offering lower than what sellers have the home actually listed for, and they are closing for less. So this is an indication that El Dorado County, the market is softening a little bit here. Which on the positive side of things, I think that opens up a little bit of opportunity for buyers out there who are struggling to get under contract and purchase homes. Next up on the screen, I have the average sales price versus the average list price. You can see last month, the average list price was $917,000 versus the average sales price was $703,000. So active list price is actually down about 5.5%. So in general, sellers are listing for slightly less than they were a year ago. However, the average sold price is up 11.8% from where it was a year ago. So home prices are still up double digits from where they were 12 months ago. And then the last chart for El Dorado County is the month's worth of inventory. We're currently sitting at about 0.8 months, which is less than 1 month's worth of inventory. And from a year ago, we were sitting at about 0.7%. So we're up on average about 14% from a year ago. It's still under a month's worth of inventory, which is really a tight seller's market. Even at the peak in October of 2021, we saw 1.9 months worth of inventory. That still falls into what we would classify a seller's market. So my hope would be that a little bit more inventory comes online in the late spring and early summer, just like it did seasonally here last year. Okay, so moving on to Placer County now, we're going to go through the same information. I have the for sale, sold, and pended chart here up on the screen. The green line indicates what's for sale. There's 278 units in December. The red line is the indication of homes that were under contract, meaning a buyer has agreed to purchase them, 351 units there. And the number of homes sold in December of 2021 is just under 500 units at 478. So if we're doing a year-over-year comparison, the number of homes for sale is down about 7%. The number of homes sold is down about 16.4%. The number of homes under contract in Placer County is down 7.4%. So sales activity is slowing a little bit year over year, which may be an indication that homes are becoming slightly less affordable or people are staying put where they are today. Next chart up on the screen is the average days on market, which is indicated by the orange bar here. So as of last month, it's taken about 24 days to put a property under contract in Placer County. A year ago, we were sitting at about 23 days. So the days on market over a year has increased about 4.3%. Overall, that's a relatively small change year over year. So the green bar is stating that homes on average are selling for 99% of the list price, which is slightly under what these homes are listed for. Whereas if you go back a year, they were selling for 100% of the list price. And in the peak of the sales market, right around April, May, and June of 2021, homes were selling on average for about 104 to 103% of that original list price. So it's an indication that the market is cooling a little bit, which might provide some opportunities for buyers to get out there and get a little bit better deal on a home. Now, even with the market calming down a little bit, homes sitting a little bit longer, prices on average are still up year over year, about 12.4%. The average sales price in Placer County for December of 2021 was $732,000 versus a year ago was $651,000. Average list price is sitting just over $1 million, which a year ago was slightly higher, but it was still just north of $1 million. Average list price is down about 5.6% year over year. Next up on the screen is the month's worth of inventory. We're currently sitting at about 0.6 months worth of inventory in Placer County. That is up about 19% year over year. But relatively speaking, this is a marginal change. In December of 2020, we only had a half month's worth of inventory. And last month, we're reporting 0.6 months worth of inventory. So still extremely low level of homes that are listed for sale. Even at its peak in September of 2021, the highest level of inventory we saw was 1 month. All right, and the last county we're going to cover individually here is Sacramento County. So we're going to go over the same exact data. Up on the screen, we have the for sale, sold, and pending information. So in Sacramento County, last month, we saw 592 units listed for sale, 1,036 units placed under contract, and 1,274 units sold. So if we're comparing year over year, let's look at the data. The number of homes for sale has changed marginally at 0.3%. However, the number of homes sold is down 14.6%. The number of homes under contract is down slightly at 2.4%. So this is really interesting. Again, sales activity is slowing down a little bit year over year. So less people out there purchasing. I think a lot of that has to do with the inventory levels as well as the interest rates rising a little bit on the 30-year fixed mortgages. Now let's take a look at the average days on market. The orange bar here is saying that it took 21 days to put properties under contract last month. That is about 3 weeks time. So still under 1 month to get a property sold. If you look at that year over year, we're up about 23.5%, meaning it's taking a little bit longer to get homes sold. The green line here indicates that homes are selling on average for 100% of the list price in Sacramento County. So if a home's listed for $550,000, that home is selling for $550,000. But the same kind of trends here. If you go back a year ago, homes in December of 2020 were selling for about 101% of the original list price. So people were overbidding and purchasing that home for slightly more than what it was listed for. At its peak in May of 2021, homes were selling on average for 105% of the list price. And as an example of this, it would essentially mean that homes that were listed at $500,000 were selling for $525,000. Next up on the screen is the average price of homes listed for sale versus the average sold price. Sacramento County had an average sales price of $569,000, whereas they had an average list price of $761,000. So average list price was up about 5.3%. The average sold price is up 15.4%. So pretty solid double-digit year-over-year growth there for the average sold price. And last but not least, let's take a look at the month's worth of inventory. It is still extremely low as of last month. We're at about a half month's worth of inventory. From a year ago, this is actually up 25%. That seems like a big gain, but back in December of 2020, we only had 0.4 months worth of inventory, so relatively small change. You can see even at its peak in August of 2021, we still had less than a month's worth of inventory, just sitting right at about 0.9. All right, so that is going to cover it for today's video. We went over so much data. We broke down the different counties and all of the stats and facts. I still am going to work on that average price per square foot because that is one of my favorite metrics, and the information and data that is being reported for that specific metric does not appear accurate in my opinion. So I'm going to work on that. Once I have an update, I'll put it in the comments below. But let me know what you think. Where do you think the market's headed? What do you think of the data? Is there anything we could do to improve this analysis here? Anything specific that you would like to see? Leave it in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, please consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button to see more videos like this on a weekly basis. Thank you again for watching. Have a great day.